Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. I'm Shantae Grant, and today I'm answering a question from a listener. Anne Farello wrote, "What are some ways that we can instill some of the Best Today principles in our own children?" That is such a fantastic question, and that could be like 52 different episodes. However, here's what I'm going to do today. I want to talk about how we can take the 4 pillars or the 4 principles that we use here at Best Today. And I talk about that in a previous episode. We'll link to it in the show notes at besttodayguide.com/63. I'll link to the episode that goes over these 4 principles that I'm about to talk about. But I'm going to take our 4 principles, our 4 pillars, which are proaction, intentionality, self-awareness, and self-love. And I thought I'd go that route today because those truly are the Best Today principles. And then clearly there are so many others that we teach, but they all fall under those 4 umbrellas. So with those 4 things, what are some small ways that you can help the children in your life? You don't have to be a parent to do this. You can be an aunt, a friend, your friend who may have children or whatever, how you can help to really cultivate Best Today principles in the children in your lives. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I want to hear from you if you have even more specific questions about children and how to do specific things that we teach. Okay, let's say you use the Best Today guide. How would we make that look for a 14-year-old? Things like that. Never hesitate to leave us a voicemail and ask your question by going to besttodayguide.com/voice or when you go to today's show notes, go to besttodayguide.com/63. There's a button right there in the show notes. You can leave us a message. We love getting them from you because we clearly want to create content and information that helps you right where you are and answers your questions. So always feel free to submit that question for anything here on the podcast. But let's get to Anne's questions, which is so great. What are some of the ways that we can instill Best Today principles in our own children? I'm going to slow down because I'm getting excited, as you probably can already tell. So Shantae, let's get together. Okay, so let's talk about them. Proaction, intentionality, self-awareness, and self-love. So proaction. How can you help the children in your life to be proactive? Meaning, how can we have them think about something that's going to happen before it happens? Clearly, one of the clear ways we teach you as adults to do it, or as older people to do it, is plan every day, the day or night before, right? That is one of the things that you will hear consistently taught here at Best Today. But I want you to think about this. There are 2 thoughts I had when it comes to teaching proaction. And this is, again, you apply this at the age appropriate level, but you can start this as early as like 3 years old and on to your 18-year-old and beyond, right? But you want to think, how can we help them to be proactive? And why do we want to be proactive, right? We want to be proactive. So one, that we're not living our lives reactive. Oh no. Okay. I woke up. What am I going to do? Oh, well, okay. What really matters today? I don't know. What do I need to do today? Don't wake up like that any morning of your life, right? We can think about the things that matter and that are going to matter. And we also can plan ahead and say, this is like planning for a trip, making a packing list, things like this. It's basically thinking about the problem before it becomes a problem and creating that solution early on. That's what routines do, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So number 1, help them to proactively prepare for events by just telling them about the event before it takes place. Help them think through what's going to happen, whether this is the first day of school, going on a trip, something that's going to happen in the house, in the family. Talk about it way before it happens. Help them, give them details, let them know down to like, this is when you're going to put on your shoes or whatever. Again, go age appropriate. But I have learned when I tell my daughter or even my son who's 3 years old, what we're doing, how we're doing it, when we're doing it, and start to give them the details. When that time comes, they know what to expect. They feel safe. They feel like we understand what's happening. We're not being thrown in this world of unknownness, right? That's not a real word, but Help them to be proactive by telling them about things before they happen at an age appropriate level. We're going to go to the botanical gardens. That's in Georgia. We're going to be in the car for a long time. It's going to feel like a long time. That's about 3 hours. It might be a great idea. Let's start thinking about the things that you want to put in your book bag. Maybe some coloring things because you may want to color. A snack would be great. Let's make sure your water bottle is going to be ready. How about we make a list of the things that you're going to want to have in the car for that long drive? Maybe we think of a list of things we hope we see on the road and maybe do a list and check those things off. Let's get excited about that. What shoes do you think you're going to wear? Because we're going to be outside and you'll probably do some running around. So maybe your tennis shoes, which pair of your tennis shoes would you like to wear? Let's start thinking about that. Proaction, just helping them to think about it before it happens. That's one way, and that's really helpful, really probably with all ages, but with younger children, it's really, really helpful and really, really important. Preparing for things like the first day of school, big milestones, things like that. Another thing is also proactively. Well, actually, I'm going to get to that when we get to intentionality. It's bleeding over. So hold on. Let me not get ahead of myself. The second thing when it comes to proaction is, and the most important for children is to create routines for them. I cannot stress it enough. I'm telling you this. Any doctor is going to tell you this. Any neurologist is going to tell you this. Any psychologist is going to tell you this. We are all going to tell you this because it's true. Routines work for all humans. All humans. It looks differently for all humans because we're all different. But routines work. They are excellent for your mental health. They're excellent for your emotional well-being. Please believe me when I talk about routines. I actually recorded an episode about routines way back in August of 2019. I'm going to link to that in the show notes. It was in the Business Life and Joy podcast. It was about joyful routines for children. I'll probably do an update to it at some point as well, but I'm going to link that in the show notes at bestdayguide.com/63. But I'm going to tell you, if you really want to help your children be proactive, help create routines for them and then talk through them what that looks like, right? Talk to them about, okay, this is what happens when we walk in the door from school. Here's our just getting home from routine. We insert what that looks like. Put our book bags here. We empty the book bags. We take off our shoes. You take your clothes off. You go put them in the hamper, whatever that looks like. But creating routines, again, makes children feel safe. They know what to expect. It's going to help lessen those tantrums because they already know this is what we do. And they really get in that good groove of it, particularly if you let them be a part of the creation of the routine. And here's the thing. If you can't just throw some stuff together and say, this is a routine. Please listen. If you do not know how to create routines using the taco method, I want you to go to rightnowroutine.com. That's the method I teach for creating routines. It will give you everything you need every step of the way. If you need help with routines that actually work and last and fit where you are right now, go to rightnowroutine.com and get inside of Right Now Routine. You have less than an hour video training, your workbook, and boom, you're setting up your first taco within the next hour. So one of the most important ways to teach your children the best today principle of proaction is by creating healthy routines for them that they can follow. Again, age appropriate. A routine can be 2 steps for a 3-year-old, At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hey, this is Alexandria Horton, and I just want to talk about how much I love Right Now Routine. You should sign up because it is an absolute game changer. You get to get deep about what matters, create anchors for your day so you can have some free time, learn how to hold yourself accountable. And when life happens and throws you a curveball like all of 2020, you also can get back on your routine. So I absolutely loved it. I love the free sample routines. That was really helpful. And it's just amazing. So why are you waiting to try it?
Listen, she said it. I'm going to say it too. Why are you waiting to try it? If you do not have well-established routines working for you right now, today, the day you're listening to this, run your fingers to rightnowroutine.com. Sign up, and within the next hour, you can know how to create realistic routines that work for your life right now. We have thousands of women across the world who have walked through Right Now Routine. We have more reviews than we know what to do with. Well, actually, that's not true. We know what to do with them. We're sharing them with you, but we want you to go read for yourself. Go to rightnowroutine.com, read what women have to say. And I'm going to tell you, it's time. Today is the day to finally incorporate routines in your life, or maybe you're creating routines for the children in your life, but go to Right Now Routine right now, which will also link in today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/63, and get inside of Right Now Routine right now. Y'all, routines are necessary for all of us. So I'll see you inside of Right Now Routine. So that's 2 ways you can practice teaching proaction. Talking to your children about events before they happen and helping them to prepare for them, right? And then also creating routines. That's just 2 of 200 I probably could share. Those are 2 really important ones. Intentionality, right? That second principle, help them to talk about their day before the day happens. Help them to plan their days the night before, just like we talk about how we do it as adults. But I talk about this under intentionality more so than proaction. It's both, because we want to start teaching our children to be intentional. Talk with them about what matters, like what's going to matter to you tomorrow. What's something that you want to do tomorrow? How do you want to feel tomorrow? You know, being intentional requires an intent. Teach them to learn how to figure out what theirs is. Their intention can be, I want to laugh tomorrow. I want to go on the playground at school. I want to read my new book from the library. Whatever it is, it can be anything that matters to them. And that's another thing. They get to learn that their intention, what they desire to be in their day, doesn't have to look like what's in mommy or daddy's day or brother or sister's day. Teach them to talk about that kind of stuff. You know, when you're thinking about tomorrow, okay, so what are we going to wear tomorrow? What are you going to do tomorrow? Let's see. Well, on Tuesdays, this is the day you go to music class. What song are you hoping to sing? Actually, what song do you want to sing in the morning? Is there a song you'd like to sing tomorrow morning as we get ready for school? Really helping them to start, again, taking ownership of their day too, and feeling like they have some autonomy in making decisions for how their day goes, because that's clearly something we want them to learn as adults as they grow older. So really giving them a part to play by proactively thinking about their day. Clearly, you may not need to write out results and outcomes for a 5-year-old, but just thinking about maybe even if they draw a picture of how they want to feel tomorrow or a thing they want to do. And when that thing happens, or when they ensure that happens, one, that's a great conversation to have about how, wow, remember last night we talked about how you wanted to go on the playground? You drew a picture about it. And tell me all of, how was it? Did you go to the playground? Do you want to draw a picture about maybe what that actually felt like? Whatever it is, but it really starts to build that muscle for them to think about what they want, what they need, and what they desire in their day to day. That is a fantastic way to build the proaction and the intentionality muscle in your children and to teach that best today principle. A second way to teach the principle of intentionality is teach your children the power of small steps. I have a podcast episode. We have one. I'll link it in the show notes at besttodayguide.com/63. But the power of small intentional steps. Things sometimes feel really big to children. And so when we help break it down into smaller steps, it feels better. Guess what? That's true for us too. So maybe rather than designating, a certain amount of time, homework time, maybe you can break it down. Okay, we're going to have a little math party first. Let's do math. And then we're going to move over and have a science party. And then we're going to do this. Or rather than clean your room, maybe break that down to, okay, first we're going to make your bed, or you're going to make your bed. Then we're going to clean up the things that are on your floor, and just break things down small. Help them to understand there's power in small intentional steps. And what that will also do is to help them to remember that as adults and not always look at the big grand thing, but understand the power of small, slow tortoise movement, and understanding that has far more power than the quick, fast pacedness of the hare. Another episode I've talked about with the tortoise and the hare, which I will also link in the show notes. That might be the same podcast as the small intentional, but I'll link all of it in the show notes that I'm referencing today. But that's a really great way of teaching your children intentionality as well. Now on to the third principle, self-awareness. What a gift to teach our children self-awareness at a young age, something that a lot of us are you're probably now understanding the importance of, working through that, or now you have great self-awareness and you understand how important it is to teach that at a young age. I think one way to teach this principle of self-awareness is just to talk to your children about how they feel and then allow them to have feelings. My child is allowed to tell me that she's upset with me, that I hurt her feelings, that she's angry, because guess what? All of those things can be true. They have feelings. Let them express them. Let them talk and believe them, right? Even if it is completely irrational, to you, allow them to explain how they feel, be aware of themselves, right? And not teach them to push that and suppress that down and know this is how you should be and this is what you feel, or no, you don't feel that, this is what you feel. Really give them the space for that. And that's at every age. There's no age too small for this, too young for this. One of the things that I've done that really, in an effort to do this, is to give my daughter a journal when my son, writes. I'll give him one as well, a journal to write whenever she has feelings or thoughts or anything that she wants to write that maybe she doesn't want to share or she wants to keep private, or just a place to write, right? Because clearly I'm a huge proponent of journaling, but give them the space to express what they are truly feeling and what happened, their side of the story. All of these things, I think, are really small seeds dropping into their lives that will water and grow that self-awareness mode. Just giving them a space to, while they are so self-aware, to be able to communicate that in a safe place to you. That's one step I think that will be very helpful to build that principle of self-awareness in your young children. And then, of course, our last being self-love. Help them to see themselves as loved without condition. We want to be mindful of the things that we are telling them about themselves so that they're not making these agreements that later they find are not true. I'm referencing a book called The 4 Agreements, but, telling them, oh, you're shy. Oh, you're hard-headed. Oh, you're X, Y, or Z, because that might become how they see themselves. So be mindful of the things you say to them. Don't say something to your child that you don't want them saying to themselves. How about that? Right? Plant seeds of love and let them know that you see their goodness and affirm their goodness. Talk to them more about who they are, right? Oh, you're committed. You're dedicated. You try hard. You're a team player. You're honest. You're loving. You're kind. More so than about what they've done. Great job on the good grades or the clean room. But what's really at the base of that, right? Maybe the base of the good grades is that someone who tries, who doesn't give up, who has shown resilience, who just is talented. I think the easiest thing is helping your children to see that they are lovable and worthy of love. Without conditions. Not you're lovable when you listen. You're lovable when you follow the rules of the house. You're lovable when you X, Y, and Z, but you're loved. You're lovable always. I think in my mind, that is one of the easiest ways that we can instill self-love into our children, because it becomes that voice that they now play back to themselves. And so those are just a few ways to instill the principles of proaction, intentionality, self-awareness, and self-love in your children at whatever age or stage they are in, whether your child is in their 30s, 40s, 50s, or in their single-digit teens, young adult ages. These are ways that we can strive to instill these best day principles in our children or in the children in your life. I hope this episode has been helpful to you. Thank you, Anne, for this fantastic question. If you'd like to submit a question for the podcast, you can go to besttodayguide.com/voice. You can always email us. We'll link all the information in our show notes. You can actually leave a question in the comments in the show notes. You can leave comments in the show notes. So go to besttodayguide.com/63 for all things referenced here in this week's episode. And thank you so much, as always, for listening to the Best Today podcast. Thank you for being present with me for this episode. Until next time, remember that you are capable and you are worthy of being your best one today at a time. And you have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. I'll talk to you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today Guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.